Hi there, friends. Welcome to this low and slow flow, I'm going to call it. In this practice, we actually won't be doing any standing postures. We'll be doing some low lunges, but nothing standing, no balancing. We're just going to keep it all very low to the mat. So if you're feeling like you need a little bit more grounding, or if you are experiencing any like dizziness or vertigo, this is a good one because we stay very low to the ground. You will need 2 blocks, a strap, and then if you have a bolster or a pillow, go ahead and grab that. We'll use that at the end for a nice supported fish. So that can feel really nice underneath the back to have kind of a soft thing instead of blocks. We will get started down on our backs in a reconstructive pose. So gently come down onto your back. Can keep your knees bent and then move your feet kind of towards the edges of your mat and allow your knees to just knock in and rest or kind of make a tent on one another. You can place your left hand on your heart, right hand on your belly, and just close down your eyes. Take this opportunity here to just check in with yourself before we start our practice. In our low and slow flow class today, we will work on opening up through our hip joint and also a lot of side opening, side bending, opening up both sides of our body. So I'm going to ask as we move through this practice today that we follow the concept of ahimsa. If you've taken a yoga class, you've probably heard ahimsa used as a theme in our practice. And really what it translates to is nonviolence. Of course, towards others, but also in our practice towards ourselves. And what we can use that for today is just by being kind and gentle to our body. In the hips and in the sides, not taking anything too far. Kind of listening to your body where it is today and doing things that feel good. And start to breathe in and out through your nose. Take a couple more deep breaths. Filling the lungs on the inhale. And letting it all go on the exhale. Your next inhale, you can gently open your eyes. You can release your hands down by your sides. We'll just start with some easy bridge lifts. So you can bring your legs parallel, about hips distance apart. I like to bring my heels about a hand's distance from my hips. And then just start to press down into your feet, into the heels, squeeze the glutes, lift the hips up into just a gentle bridge pose. And then exhale, just lower the hips back down to the mat. So you can just do these on your own, inhaling and exhaling, lifting the hips and lowering. And as you start to kind of warm up here, you could even lift your arms up with your hips on the inhale and down on the exhale. Let's just do a few more here. Squeezing the glutes at the top. And then rolling down one vertebrae at a time. Last one here, press those feet into the mat. And then lower the hips down. Let's bring the right knee in towards the chest. Cross this right ankle over the left knee. Keep the foot flexed. And then press that right knee away. We'll come into a reclined pigeon here. So pay attention to your ankles, your knees, and your hips. Anytime you start to feel discomfort or pain, back out. Don't take this too deep. We're just starting our practice. So start to push that right knee out and away. Keep this foot flexed. And then if it feels good, you can hug this left leg in towards your chest. So you can grab behind the thigh or even the front of the shin as you draw that right leg towards the chest. Continue that motion of the right knee kind of pressing out and away. You should feel a nice stretch through the right outer hip and glute. On your next exhale, you can release that left foot down, place the right foot back down on the mat, left knee in towards the chest. Let's cross the left ankle over the right knee. Same thing applies here. Keep the foot flexed. See if you can actively move that left knee out and away from your body. And then maybe, if it feels good, hug the right leg in a little bit towards the chest as you continue to press that left leg out and away. Let's take one more breath. And then you can lower the right leg down, release the left leg. Extend the left leg out long. Hug this right leg in towards the chest. If your strap is handy, go ahead and grab that. You can have it up here by your body. We'll do a reclined big toe to hand. So if you need your strap for that, have it handy. So go ahead and hug this right knee in. You can kind of rock it side to side. And then let's bend the left leg. So bend the left knee, place the left sole of the foot down on the mat. Grab your strap. You can just hook it around the sole of the right foot and then just start to bend and straighten this right leg, waking up our hamstring. Straighten and bend. Wherever your leg is all good. Doesn't need to be in super close to your body. Let's do one more here. Next time you straighten the leg, press out through the heel, have the leg straight. See if you can maybe straighten the left leg long. If that means lowering your right leg a little bit to keep it straight, that's all good as well. Let's keep the leg straight. And then keep this left hip point pointing up. We want to keep our hips square and not be dumping to one side or the other. So take a breath here as we have the right leg straight, kind of drawing the foot back towards the face. Then you can take your strap into your right hand and then start to open this right leg out towards the right. I like to keep my left hand on top of this left hip to remind it to stay grounded and not roll towards the right. So keep that right leg straight. Open it out to the side. Keep this right hip scooping underneath. Take a breath here. Maybe readjust your strap if you can pull the foot up towards the face just a little bit. Take this gentle. Come back to that concept of ahimsa, choosing what's right for your body in this practice today. Let's inhale it back up. You can take the strap into your left hand and then just gently cross the midline of the body a little bit. This can be pretty intense here through the outside of the right leg into the IT band. Take it gently. And then come back to center, release the strap, extend that right leg long, and then hug the left knee into the chest. Take any little side to side, up and down motions. Bend the right knee, place the right sole of the foot on the mat, and we'll do those bend and straighten, kind of the little hamstring wake up move. So bend and straighten the left leg. Let's do maybe 3 more. 3, 2, last one. Keep the left leg straight. Maybe extend that right leg long. You can place this right hand on top of the hip. Remind all of that right leg to ground down. Left toes are drawing back towards your face. Anywhere that your leg is perfect for you today. One more breath. And then let's open this left leg out to the side. Gently keeping the right hip grounded. Keeping your shoulders grounded. Let's take 2 breaths here out to the side. And then we'll inhale that left leg back up to center. Take the strap in your right hand and cross that left leg over the midline of the body towards the right. Just a little bit. This one can feel pretty intense. Let's inhale it back up to center. You can release the strap, hug both knees into your chest. Give them a nice squeeze. And then take your hands behind your knees. We'll rock and roll all the way up to our seat. So, in your comfortable seated position, you can just have legs crossed. We'll do some lateral bending here. So we'll just inhale and reach this left arm up overhead. Right fingertips can be down on the mat and just stretch over towards the right. Ground through that left hip bone. Inhale it back up to center and then exhale it over to the left. Right arm is up overhead. So just take these on your own breath, side to side. Grounding down through your sit bones. Let's do one more. to the left. Inhale, both arms up overhead. Exhale, twist to the right. Place the right fingertips behind you, left fingertips on the right knee. Gaze over the right shoulder. Twisting through the thoracic spine, the middle back. And then let's inhale this right arm up overhead. Draw an arc all the way overhead like a rainbow with those right fingertips all the way until they meet with the left knee. You can round your back, keep the hands on the knees, tuck your chin into your chest, allow the shoulder blades to kind of separate. And then let's inhale, bring the arms out in front of you. You can keep them crossed and then just open them into like a cactus, like goalpost arms. Elbows draw down, shoulder blades draw in towards one another, chest comes forward. On your exhale, draw the elbows in towards one another, hollow out through the chest. Take like a seated cat stretch, round your back. Inhale it back open, chest reaches forward. Exhale it close. Let's do one more. Inhale open, seated cow. Exhale close, seated cat. Let's inhale the arms back up overhead. Exhale, twist to the left. Left fingertips behind you, right fingertips on that left knee. Let's take one more breath. And then draw that arc with this left arm all the way up overhead. Reach, 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 reach. All the way till it meets the right knee. Keep the arms crossed, hands on the knees. Round through the back. Tuck your chin into your chest. Draw that belly in. And then on your inhale, reach your arms in front of you. Open them back up into those cactus goalpost arms. Exhale, seated cat. Inhale, open up into cow. Let's do one more. Exhale, chest draws in. Inhale, it opens. We can exhale and just lower the hands down by our sides. We're going to come into tabletop. So you can just rock forward, keeping your ankles crossed, and place your knees underneath your hips, wrists under, shoulders. In our tabletop, let's take some hip circles with the left leg. So keep the knee bent. Just start to circle this left hip. We'll do 3 each direction. If you hear popping or cracking, that's totally normal as we're starting to wake up our hip joint, as long as it's not accompanied with any sort of pain. Let's open this left leg out to the side. See if you can straighten the left leg. Place that left foot down and then walk your hands out. This is like a gate pose, puppy stretch mashup. You can place your forehead down on the mat. Reach your sit bones high and wide behind you. Open through the shoulder joint. And then on your inhale, lift the chest. You can walk the hands back towards the knees. We're going to rotate to the left and just meet in a half split. Grab your blocks from the top of your mat, bring them with you, and we'll just meet in a half split facing the left side of our mat. So our right knee is bent, left leg is out in front, left toes are pointing up. Take a moment to hug this left femur bone back into the hip socket. Get a long spine, and then fold forward over that left leg. Should feel a very nice hamstring and calf stretch here. On your next inhale, lift the chest, and then let's bend this left knee and come into Anjaneyasana low lunge. You can move your blocks forward, allow the hips to come forward and kind of sink down towards the mat. And then exhale, shift the hips back into that half split fold forward. Inhale, come forward into that Anjaneyasana one more time. Stay here for a breath. Allow those hips to sink. Maybe bring hands to the hips. Let's inhale, maybe reach arms up overhead. Exhale, left hand to left hip. Take a little side stretch, reaching sideways to the left and back a little bit, opening up through the psoas on the right side. You can exhale, bring your hands back down to the blocks. Shift your hips back into that half split. We'll walk our blocks back towards the front of our mat. Spin to face the front. We're back in that gate pose, puppy stretch mashup. Lower the chest down towards the mat. Take a breath. And then on your inhale, lift the chest. Start to walk the hands back towards the knee again. Our torso will come all the way up and we'll take a gate pose. So left hand can slide down the left leg, right arm reaches up overhead. We're stretching the whole right side body. Inhale up, exhale, hands back down to the mat, and then let's swing this left leg behind us, cross it back behind the right, come onto the left toes, and then press back into that left foot, open up here through the left side. So we're pressing our hips back, pressing in to those left toes, and then kind of opening up the left side. Let's come back into tabletop, and we will take all of that on the right. So start your hip circles on the right side, keep the knee bent. Doesn't matter which direction you start, just do both. Let's do 3 each way. After your last one, open that right leg out to the side, straighten the right leg, place the toes down, pointing forward, and then walk the hands out, lower the chest. You can be on your chest or on your chin here if that reaches down to the mat. Check in with that concept of ahimsa. Are we choosing what feels right for our body today? One more breath. And then inhale, start to walk the hands back towards the knees. Grab those blocks. We're shifting to face the right side of our mat now in a half split. Take a moment with that right hip. Check and see if that femur bone is really plugged back into the hip socket. You may need to drag that right heel back just a little bit to get your hips square. Get a long spine. Exhale, fold forward over that right leg. Feeling that deep stretch up the back of the Achilles, the calf, the hamstring, the whole back of the right leg. Inhale, lift the chest, bring your blocks, shift the hips forward, Anjaneyasana, low lunge. Should feel a deep stretch there through the front of the left hip. You can squeeze this left glute to help open up the front of the left hip. On your exhale, shift the hips back. We'll do one more half split here. Fold forward. And then let's inhale. Hips come forward. Anjaneyasana again. We'll stay here for a couple of breaths. Maybe bring hands to hips. Maybe reach arms up overhead. If your arms are overhead, exhale the right hand to the right hip. Take that side bend. We're going over towards the right and back just slightly to help open up the front line of the body on the left side. Exhale, hands back down to block. Shift the hips back into that half split one more time. Bring your blocks back to the front of your mat. As we shift our torso to face forward, rotate on that left knee. We'll come back into that gate puppy mashup. Noticing if our shoulders are tending to open just a little bit more every time we do this pose. This is a great shoulder opener. On your next inhale, walk the hands back towards the torso. We'll come all the way upright and then take a gate pose. So right hand slides down the right leg, left arm reaches up overhead into that nice side stretch on the left side. Exhale the hands down. Lift this right leg behind you, cross it behind the left leg, come onto the toes, and then press back into that right foot, open up the right side body. And then we'll inhale and come right back into our tabletop. From here, let's do just a few cat-cows. So make sure you're in the center of your mat here. So on an inhale, drop the belly, open the chest. Gaze can be forward and up. Exhale, press the mat away, tuck the pelvis, draw the belly in. Release the head. Let's do 2 more on your own breath. Inhaling through cow and exhaling through cat. Every time we go through cat, tuck that pelvis, push the mat away. Last one here. Inhale and exhale. Let's come back to center in our tabletop. Rotate this right shin out towards the right as we open up into a modified side plank. So we'll come onto the left foot. We're rotating this left shin to face back. Open this left arm up overhead into our modified side plank. And then reach the left arm up overhead. Press down into this left foot. Get a nice side stretch on the left side. Then we'll inhale and come back up into that gate pose. So left hand slides down, right arm reaches up overhead. And then we'll inhale back up to straight. We'll stay on the right knee, turn these left toes to face towards the left, bend the left knee. We'll come into a modified side angle. So let's go ahead and grab our blocks. We'll bring them here towards the back of our mat. If you need a block underneath that left hand, place it there now. Open the right arm up overhead. Get a long stretch through the right side body here in our modified side plank. Can kind of press this left upper arm into the thigh into the arm to help open up through the left inner thigh. On your exhale, bring this right hand down. You can grab your block. We'll shift this left knee, the left shin to face towards the original front of our mat now, and we'll heel toe the left foot over towards the left. We'll come into a lizard lunge. So stay on your blocks if you need them. They can be on any height. Make sure that you're off that back kneecap. If that's not comfortable on your knee, you can always pat it like with a blanket underneath, or you could even curl your toes and just lift that back knee off of the mat. So stay here in your lizard lunge. You may want to rock hips side to side. And then we'll kind of go back the way that we came. So you can heel toe this left foot in towards the middle, just rotate back onto that shin. We'll come back into that modified side angle, opening our chest up towards the ceiling. And then listen up, we'll come down onto our seat from here. So just cross this right shin underneath your body, come onto your seat. We'll keep this leg bent. Allow the left leg to reach out long, and we'll come into like a version of revolved Janu Shirsasana. So left hand can be on the inside of the left leg. It could be reaching towards the right leg. We'll just gently reach this right arm up overhead. The goal here is not to reach all the way towards our toes. It's just to open up our chest and open up our side body here. And then we'll inhale, come up to center. Use your hands if you need to. Bend this left leg to meet the right. Soles of the feet meet. And then we'll come into a Baddha Konasana, cobbler's pose. So ground down through your sit bones, get a long spine. You can even squeeze through your glutes and your outer hips to kind of help open up your inner thighs. And then fold forward, hinging at the hips over those legs. So feeling a release here in your low back as we fold forward. And then we'll inhale, come back up to center, and we'll just switch the revolved Janu Shirsasana. So right leg can reach long, left knee is bent, left sole of the foot on the inside of the right thigh. You can take your right hand to your right shin, and then just open up the left side body. One more breath. And then bring this left hand all the way back up. Place it behind you on the floor, and then we'll come into a modified wild thing. So we'll just press up onto that left shin, onto the left heel, open up through the chest, through the hips. And then bring this right hand back down onto the mat. We'll meet in tabletop facing the back of our mat. If you'd like to go ahead and move your blocks back up towards the front where you know you might need them next, you can do that. We'll start with our cat-cow. So on an inhale, drop the belly, open through the chest, shoulder blades draw towards one another. Exhale, press the mat away. Cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Let's do it one more time. Breathing in through the nose, out through the nose. Back to neutral. We'll come into modified side plank on the left. So rotate this left shin to the back, come onto the right foot, open that right arm up overhead, and then take the right arm all the way up towards that left side of the room. Press down into the right foot. Get a nice side bend, side stretch all the way up the right side. And then we'll inhale the torso up, come into gate pose. So continue reaching that right leg down, right arm down the right leg, left arm up overhead, side stretch on the left. Come back up to center. Turn your right toes to face towards the front of the mat. Bend through this right knee. Grab your block if you need it. We'll come into modified side angle. So right hand can be down on the mat, the block. You could have your elbow on your thigh, whatever works for you. And then left arm reaches up overhead. You should feel an opening through your left inner thigh. And then bring this left hand down. Grab that block on your way if you need it. We'll rotate the left knee. And then you can heel toe this right foot out to the right just a little bit. We want to be a little bit more open through our hips here. So options in your lizard lunge, you can have hands on blocks, on the mat. If being on that back knee does not feel good, you can always lift or place a blanket underneath that left knee. Let's take one more breath in our lizard. And then let's heel toe this right foot in towards the center of the mat just a little bit. Rotate back onto that left shin. Open the chest back up into our modified side angle. From here is where we come onto our seat. So you can straighten through this right leg. We'll just shift our hips back, kind of tuck that left foot underneath your body as we come into revolved Janu Shirsasana. Right hand can be on the left shin. Reach the left arm up overhead. This is a great stretch right here through your QLs, your lower back on each side. Inhale back up to center. Use your hands if you need to. See if you can allow the soles of your feet to meet in a Baddha Konasana. Get a long spine all the way up through the crown of your head. And then exhale, hinge at your hips, fold forward. You can grab onto your ankles. You can I like to sometimes hug my toes in with the fingers, kind of squeezing it all together. It can help too to maybe press your elbows down into the thighs, whatever works for you. Choosing what's right for your body today. Coming back to that concept of ahimsa. Let's inhale back up to center. Bend the right sole of the foot in towards the left leg. Left hand can be on the right shin, and then open that right arm up overhead. We're really opening up our side body today. Checking in with all of those muscles along the side, the low back. Inhale this right arm all the way up. Place it down behind you, and then that modified wild thing. So lift your hips, open the chest, and then exhale the left hand back down on the mat. We'll realign here in our tabletop. Can move those blocks over to the side. We'll come in back into that lizard lunge. So you can just bring this right foot forward, use blocks underneath your hands if you need them, and then allow the hips to shift forward. So we can do the same thing here. You can have hands down on your blocks. You can lift that back knee. Just take some more rocking motions here. Side to side. Maybe come up onto that toe and come back and forth. One thing in lizard lunge that I tend to do is just make it more of like a fluid movement, not just a static hold. I find that if I can kind of rock side to side, I can help open up the front of this left hip. I can kind of get more into the different attachment points on the hamstring on the right leg. Let's slow down our movement and start to, you may need to shift your hips back just a little bit. Heel toe this right foot over towards the left hand. We'll come into pigeon prep here. So we'll be on the right, outside of the right shin. The right shin does not need to be parallel to the front of the mat. You may have seen other people teach it that way. Some folks do. It does not work for everyone's anatomy, including mine. So anywhere that's comfortable for this right foot to be. To help get your hips square to the front, you can always place a prop underneath your right hip if you're having a hard time getting your hips square. So that's an option as well. So in your pigeon prep, let's just place our fingertips down kind of wide, wider than your mat, and do just some rolls forward and up on these tented fingertips. These are kind of like when we do serpent cobra, just rolling through the spine, forward and back. Last one here. And then permission here to just fold forward. You can stay on hands on blocks, hands on the mat. You can come onto forearms, and we'll stay here for a few breaths and allow the outside of our right hip to kind of relax and open up. If you're down on forearms or reaching forward with your hands, maybe try to reach your hands over towards the right edge of the mat as we ground down through that left hip and ground down through the right hip and keep the left front hip closing towards the mat. So not rolling onto that right hip, but keeping this left front hip facing down towards the mat. See if you feel a side stretch all the way up the left side. If you're up on blocks, you can try this as well by just kind of moving your blocks over towards the right and then making sure that the front of this left hip is grounding down. Let's take one more breath. Bring your hands back to center and then slowly walk back up. Hands frame that front knee and then slowly lift that left knee to meet the right in a tabletop. You can take any little kind of hip wiggles here that feel good. Wag your tail, whatever feels good. And then we'll work to bring this left foot up outside of the left hand. We'll come into lizard on the left. Place any props under your hands that you might need, and then start to take any of those kind of rocking side to side forward movements. Stay here for 2 more breaths. Allow the front of the right hip to really open. And then let's slow our motions, come back to center, start to heel toe this left foot over towards the right hand, and come down into your pigeon prep. Placing a prop underneath this left hip. If you need it, bring those hands wide on your mat, up on those fingertips, and then start to take those serpent rolls. You can make this as dramatic or as like microscopic as feels good for you. You might be here, and that's all good. Ahimsa is really about listening to your body and the signals that it's sending you. The last one here, and then permission to fold forward over that left leg. Check in with the left glute. See if it is tensed. Make a conscious effort here to see if you can just kind of let it go. Let it relax, let it open. I would have to say that pigeon prep is like top 5 yoga poses for me. This one always feels so great to help open up through the hips, gets into the piriformis, like a really deep muscle in your glute, into the glutes, into the low back. I'm known to do this while my kids are in the bathtub, on the bathroom floor. Mom's doing pigeon pose. If you're folded forward, see if you can take your hands over towards the left and then make sure that the front of the left hip is still facing down towards the mat. See if you feel an opening up the outside of the right ribs. One more breath here. Let's walk the hands back to center, back up towards the torso. Place the hands on the outside of the left leg, and then gently bring that left knee back to meet the right in a tabletop. Maybe wagging your tail again, kind of releasing everything through the hips. And then we'll cross our ankles and come back on to our seats. You can realign on your mat here. On our seat, we'll do a couple things in Navasana. So keep your feet down on the mat actually for this one. Knees are bent. Reach your arms up overhead. Since we're working on lengthening that side body, let's have our arms up overhead, just reaching. And then we'll work to lift one leg at a time. So try to keep the belly drawing in, the sternum reaching forward, the torso lifting as you lift maybe one foot, then the other. You can keep the knees bent. And the goal here would be not to collapse back as you lift. See if you can keep that torso lifted. Maybe see if you can straighten the leg. Let's do 2 more. Last one here. Can keep your arms reaching up. Just straighten your legs out in front of you. We'll come into some variations of Paschimottanasana, not like a full forward fold. We're actually going to do a little bit of scooping, kind of like a fluid motion. So keep your arms up overhead, bring your hands down by your sides, and then almost like you're scooping up water, reach the palms forward as you fold forward, and then reach the arms all the way back up to straighten the spine. So we'll do this a few more times, just hands down by your sides. Pretend like you're just scooping something up along the sides of your legs. See how far you can reach forward. Straighten the spine back up. Let's do this a few more times, just fluid motion. Exhaling as you fold forward, inhaling as you're rising up and filling those lungs. Last one here. Arms reach up. Let's bring hands down by sides and just hug this right knee in towards the chest. So bend the right knee, place the sole of the foot down, inhale the right arm up overhead, and then exhale, twist to the right fingertips down. Hug that right knee in with your left arm. Keep this left leg active. Gaze over the right shoulder. Twisting through the thoracic spine, engaging those obliques. We've been stretching through the side. Engage those obliques to help twist. Let's inhale, bring it back to center. Switch legs, hug that left knee in. Inhale the left arm up. Exhale, twist to the left. Hug that knee in with the right arm. Keep the right leg active. Use that mind-muscle connection. Remind yourself here. Engage those obliques to help twist. And then let's inhale, come all the way back to center. We'll lower down onto our back. Can kind of slide your bolster or your pillow there towards the top of your mat, so you don't have to sit up as far to reach it here in a moment. We'll slowly lower all the way down onto our backs. You can keep your knees bent and just windshield wiper the legs. So just take the knees over towards the right and then the left. Release through the low back. And then we'll take that reclined pigeon again like we did at the beginning of class. So keep the left foot down, cross the right ankle over the left knee, keep the right foot flexed, right knee is pressing away. And then let's just hug that left knee in towards the chest. Maybe notice if your hips feel a little bit more open after all of the stretching that we've done. And then you can place the left sole of the foot back down onto the mat. We'll try a twist here. So you can keep this right ankle hooked on top of the left knee as we bring the knees over towards the right. This left hip is going to lift off of the mat. You're on the inside of your left foot. Press down through the inside of your left foot. See if you can open this left hip flexor. You might need to squeeze this left glute just a little bit. If having this right ankle crossed over does not feel good on the right knee, just simply let that foot drop and you can continue pressing to open this left hip flexor. Also, if it slides off, that's all good too. I know sometimes I have on slicky pants and this one doesn't stay for me. We'll inhale it back up to center and switch legs. So place the right sole of the foot down, cross that left ankle over, left knee presses away, hug the right leg in towards the chest. Let's do one more breath. place that right sole of the foot down, knees go over towards the left. We're coming onto the inside edge of the right foot and then squeezing the right glute, pressing down through the foot, trying to open up through the front of the right hip. If this foot slides off, that is all good. You might even be able to go a little bit deeper if you let it slide off. And then we'll inhale it back up to center. Hug the knees into your chest. You can roll your knees in one direction and then the other, kind of rolling out through your sacrum. That flat area on the low back. And then we'll take happy baby. So you can grab the outer edges of your feet, or you could take peace fingers to the inside of your big toe, thumb to the outside. Draw your knees in towards your armpits. Feet are parallel to the ceiling. Try to keep shoulders and sacrum down on the mat as you draw your knees in towards your armpits. You can rock side to side. And when you're ready, release your feet back down to the mat. We'll come into Supta Baddha Konasana here, with an option to have supported fish in your torso. So we did Baddha Konasana earlier where the soles of the feet meet. We're going to do that in a reclined version here. Just allowing one little more passive hip opener before the end of class. So for supported fish, you can always use two blocks to make kind of what they call a heart bench. So one block would go long ways across your shoulder blades, and then another one can be on any height underneath your head. You'd have to play around with the heights to see what feels good for your chest. I really like to use bolsters or pillows because then you don't have the edge of the block like digging into your back, especially if you have cork blocks. Those can be kind of hard. So if you like to try a pillow or a bolster, you'll want that to kind of line up with the bottom edge of your shoulder blades and allow your heart space to open. You could place a prop underneath your head if you need a little bit more height there as well. You'll want to kind of roll your shoulder blades in, open up through the chest. For Baddha Konasana legs here, for Supta Baddha Konasana, we're simply allowing the soles of the feet to meet and the knees to open, just like we did in the seated version. And it may feel more comfortable to scoot your feet a little bit farther away from your body. You can place blocks or props underneath right above your knee here if you need a little bit of support holding your legs up, or you could open the thighs here and just kind of allow gravity to do its work on the inner thighs. With our chest here and the supported fish, you can allow your arms to just open out to the sides with palms facing up as your heart space opens. Last alternative here, if any of this does not feel right for your body, you can skip one or the other, or really all. If you'd like to just come into Shavasana, that's always an option. But you could extend your legs if the Supta Baddha Konasana is not feeling good, or you could remove the prop if the supported fish is a little bit too much. So, back to that concept of ahimsa. Choose what is right for your body and what feels good today. That non-violence, non-harming concept can be taken even beyond just the physical part, like choosing modifications that are healthy for your body or fit your body today. It even goes into our thoughts, like the thoughts that we have about ourselves. In our practice, not having any attachment or judgment to what our postures look like, but focusing on how they feel in our body. Our bodies can be very different from one day to the next. Everyone's anatomy is different. So not only choosing the posture that fits your body today, checking in with your thoughts. We'll take another breath here. If you are in Supta Baddha Konasana, Can use your hands if you need a little help to slowly draw your knees back in towards one another. You can just allow the knees to knock in. Take a breath. And then if your torso is still in a supported fish, the easiest way is to just gently slide off the prop onto your right side. So just like into the fetal position here, and then use your hands to carefully press up. Just slide the prop out of the way, and then let's just come right back down and roll onto our backs for Shavasana. In Shavasana, reach your feet towards opposite corners of the mat. Lift your chest, tuck your shoulder blades in a little bit, and we'll take a little different variation of our Shavasana today. Let's reach our arms up overhead. So you can have them in a V. You could even like cactus goalpost the arms. You can close your eyes. Release any control on the breath you might still have here at the end of your practice. Just check in with your hips and both of your sides. Taking this Shavasana with our arms, reaching up to kind of extend that practice of lengthening our side bodies. Feeling where your body is in contact with the mat or the floor, and feeling that sensation of being grounded to the earth. Our practice today was all very low to the ground, close to our mat, close to the earth. This is one last chance here in our practice to cultivate that connection with the earth and with that grounded feeling. When we practice ahimsa, treat ourselves in kind, peaceful ways that can help us feel grounded as well. If there's any areas that are holding on to tension, see if you can let that go. Let it sink into the earth. Relax through your jaw. Release the tongue from the top of your mouth. Relax that space between your eyebrows. When you're ready, you can start to take any little micro movements, maybe start to gently wiggle the fingers and the toes. Can reach the arms up all the way overhead, reach the feet long into a nice good morning stretch. And then hug the knees into your chest. One final squeeze. Carefully roll onto your right side into the fetal position. You can cradle your head with your right arm. And then keeping your eyes closed, carefully press up. And let's meet in any comfortable seated position. Bring your hands into heart center, into Anjali Mudra. Let's take one breath together as we end our practice. Inhale in. Exhale out. Namaste. Thank you all so much for practicing with me today.